Mike, we're going to talk about the NFL and the championship games, but not really look as much back on the games themselves. That's going to be old news by the time we come out and people see this. But look at some of the trends that we're seeing in the NFL based on these matchups and who's in the Super Bowl with Baltimore and the 49ers. First of all, I think you think of these two teams, I think more defense right now. Baltimore for years has been known for that defense. And San Francisco, when they got Jim Harbaugh shows up there, brings in more of has solid defense to start with because with Singletary it sort of developed. But neither one, I think, the area that I think is really being overlooked is offensive lines for these guys. That's really this area. And also offenses. Baltimore fires their offensive coordinator, brings in a new guy, and they look pretty sharp. And Harbaugh makes a really crazy decision. I'll let you talk about it more. It seems crazy. It's not conventional. Alex Smith gets hurt, comes back, he's about to be healthy, and they say, no, we're going with this rookie quarterback. We think he gives us more options than Colin Kaepernick. So they've really put emphasis on offense, yet it's really an interesting dynamic that's going on here. In these
it is, and I think a couple things. Number one, I think offense is changing a little bit in the NFL, and the model that we have sort of gone with for play calling and just everything about how you approach it. I don't want to go nuts with this because I think passing accurately from the pocket is still the bread and butter of NFL football. There's no question about that. But it is changing a little bit. And I thought early in that NFC Championship game, Atlanta just made some unbelievable sort of high reward plays in the passing game. Great catches by Julio Jones and Roddy White and Tony Gonzalez, the great Tony Gonzalez, fitting balls into tight spaces. And I think the 49ers, the conventional, they got ahead 17-0. The conventional thinking there is, okay, now you got to throw the ball. The 49ers come out after being behind 17-0 and run the ball, I think, 4 or 5 times in a row and go right down the field, mostly on the ground. And you could see that, you could feel that game change. And I sang Jim Harbaugh's praises last week on the show, but I just love the fact that this guy doesn't care what anybody thinks, doesn't care what the conventional wisdom is, doesn't care about anything, doesn't care about making people mad or ruffling feathers, just looks at the game and says, all I want to do is win. Is this working? Great. If not, throw it out. I just love his approach, and I think that's the dynamic that, to me, has right now the 49ers are the best team and a legitimate favorite in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, and I'll just localize this a little bit. The Philadelphia Eagles, I look at two things here. One, both teams have great offensive lines, and I think if you're looking at an area to really stabilize, come in with a great offensive line, because then you can pass with a young quarterback, and you can also run the ball. And
all the X's and O's simplify, and most of them work when you block the other guy.
As much as the league in the last couple of years has gone passing, both these teams have a strong running attack, and we'll emphasize that with Gore and also Ray Rice. And they can catch the ball, too. The other thing I want to say when we localize this, we talked about the new hire of the Philadelphia Eagles with Chip Kelly, and I wasn't a huge fan of it, but looking at style-wise and somebody with a sort of a different mindset and maybe even throwing out the conventional ways of play calling and everything, that's Chip Kelly. So there's two things with the Eagles going on here. They have a strong offensive line if they all come back healthy, and this different conventional thinking is what seems to be the new trend, and they've got that guy too. So I think that's a neat thing.
I think the Eagles, the one thing about the Eagles that we can really say where they could get better fast next year no matter what is just get healthy on that offensive line, because they do have some pretty good people there.
Now let's localize this one more thing. Baltimore, they went for years, and they won their last Super Bowl, defense, and there's a couple of holdovers, Mr. Ray Lewis. But now they've switched, and they're an offensive team, and that's sort of been fun to watch that transition and that trend with the Ravens as well.
It's Ray Rice, and it's Joe Flacco going for the home run ball and occasionally hitting it, and that's how they've done it. You're right; it's not all about defense anymore for the Ravens.